Thunder! Thunder! Thundercats! Ho!
Welcome back, Thundercats fans, to another episode of Thundercats Reviews, brought to you by the Radical Retro Rewind podcast. As always, I am Radical Ryan Hunter, and I'm joined with everyone's favorite brother and mine, David. We're back for more Thundercats with our Thundercats Power Hour a month or two later.
Oh!
I have to start off by saying that we record Thundercats sometimes, would you say months in advance, based on our schedule and when we do
it just
things?
Honestly, it really depends. Yeah, some weeks or the month before. Sometimes we cut it close to the actual live, but it just really honestly depends on scheduling and, things like that.
So then our last episode, David, it came a little late. It's because when we were recording that was a horror of a day. And do you remember how we lost the audio for days and then the website had to actually find your audio? So the quality of our last episode was not great by any means, but I'm so glad that it was found so it wasn't lost completely. So it took us a little while to get back on our feet, but we're here now.
Yes, we had that little hiccup. It was a electronic issue, and that's it. We'll go from here.
Panthro was able to retrieve it with the burbles, and we do believe Mumm-Ra was responsible for the meddling. Here we are.
He probably was involved somehow.
Delightful!
We, in the meantime, got a wonderful, wonderful comment from our friend Matesh. So he says, "Hey, Retro Brothers, two-parter yes." This was for the feliner. This is how old this was. We're so sorry we're just getting to this now. Ritaro has nothing compared to the great Uncle Osbert. Ryan, you made me LOL when you told the story about Jackalman being a dog who just jumped aboard the car. Awesome. That was in the new Thundercats Roar. Could all your fans of RRR T-Cats be called bunglers?
You bungler!
I would be a proud member. David once again shows us his lovely singing voice.
Oh, thank you. It's been a long time since I've been on stage.
Officially.
Yes, officially.
And you Thundercats fans, get ready for more Mandora and the Thriller, which are coming up soon. That was our lost episode, which you heard by now. Thanks again, Ryan and David. Another great special episode. Matesh, FYI, Mumm-Ra. I have a mega condenser in the garage if anyone needs one. No need to be so grabby, dude. That was, of course, he was looking for the mega condenser in the feliner. These comments really, David, they mean so much because we're so glad that there's Thundercats fans. And what do you think about the bungler? I do love that.
We could do it. Why not? We always have our biggest bungler now, so I guess we could. We'll see if it sticks. If we get messages, how dare you call me a bungler?
But I love it. So, Matesh, bunglers, thank you so much for this, and please continue to send in your comments. We would love to hear it. As always, thank you to the Thundercats Wikipedia for the synopsis we will be using. And we start off with Dimensional Doom, which is the 33rd episode of Thundercats, originally airing November 6th of 1985. And Mumm-Ra gains possession of Wizz-Ra's mind-controlling helmet and uses it to turn the Thundercats into his slaves. Only Cheetara and Snarf are left, and they team up with Wizz-Ra to regain the helmet before it is too late. I think the best part of doing the Thundercats Power Hour is having a great episode like Wizz-Ra, and then following it up with maybe a less story-dense episode like our next episode, which is the Queen of I was going to say Eight-Legged Freaks, but that's not the name of the episode. Queen of Eight Legs. But Wizz-Ra is really good.
I am the Latina Marilyn Monroe. I got more legs than a bucket of chicken. That was from Tu Wong Fu, John Leguizamo.
That is from Tu Wong Fu. The apparition of Wizz-Ra, an ancient Egyptian sorcerer, appears in the mirror in Cheetara's room, waking her from her sleep. While initially wanting to tell the rest of the Thundercats about this strange occurrence, Cheetara decides against it, fearing that they might not believe her. What?
Cheetara! Cheetara!
You! Again! Who are you?
I am Wizz-Ra, the sorcerer. I will return.
No, wait, please!
This is the second time he's appeared. Maybe I should tell the other Thundercats. No, they'd laugh at me. Say I dreamed it all.
I can't say what I really want to say, but it's like when young teenage boys have dreams and
What?
and they would never discuss those dreams with somebody else. Chitara is visited by yet another entity
And they're not going to believe her, though,
that
right?
is admiring her. That is admiring her very much. And she's like, oh, they won't believe me, you know. So.
Why? Because she's being given accolades? This thing
I
is
don't
really
know.
admiring my beauty. They won't believe
It's
me.
coming through a mirror.
But does she think...
Wait a minute, she's I'm talking to the man in the mirror.
I just don't get that this is going to be the thing that pushes them over the edge, that they won't believe her. Meanwhile, she's been possessed by a UFO.
She hoards gold.
Maybe she wanted his helmet.
She spins around and gets visions.
The synopsis actually doesn't start with this, David, but Mumm-Ra actually starts this episode talking to Slive in the Black Pyramid.
They're totally being... It's another Karen moment. First of all, he has the magic pool set for any time there's any kind of activity going on. He gets like a signal.
An
like,
Arlo alert that his camera went off.
It's like his ring is going off. Sly is like, what does he say to Mumm-Ra? He calls him like he's like they're kind of like taunting each other a little bit. They're calling each other kind of names.
Wizz-Ra has appeared a second time. Next time, we must strike. What are you babbling about, my revolting comrade in evil? Wizz-Ra, my dear slave. It is time for him to return from the 7th dimension. Who is Wizz-Ra? A powerful wizard from the ancient days who foolishly fought for the good. Wizz-Ra possessed the one thing I wanted above all. The enchanted golden helmet of Vanur.
I mean, they always have that hostility towards each other, but then reverse it when later on, when he's got the helmet and Mumm-Ra says, he only has one day, my lizardness. He calls Slive his lizardness. That was when he was feeling good, Mumm-Ra, and sassy for a moment.
Your lizardness.
My lizardness.
So we got Karen Mumm-Ra who's looking into the viewing pool to see what's going on. He always watches them when they're sleeping too. I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
and then
he
you have this very attractive Egyptian wizard, Wizz-Ra. How amusing! A wizard named Wizz-Ra. How unoriginal.
This will not be the last Ra that you hear in Thundercats.
Yeah, so you have him appearing to Chitara, and then you have the backstory of Mumm-Ra saying that he has to do something about this because Wizz-Ra has a special power that the only thing that he has not been able to possess without drugging people like he did with Tigra, drugging him to make him do what his bidding.
Oh, the sands of sleep from Toot and Tiny.
So...
But Mumm-Ra, David, Mumm-Ra had a boat battle in the sky. Mumm-Ra used to have a gigantic Egyptian boat back in the day, and him and Wizz-Ra were having this air battle. And this is my favorite part. Somehow in the fight, the Sphinx got destroyed, and he says the anger of the Sphinx fell upon the first person she saw. So her nose gets broken off like it is in real life, and the eyes open, and she saw Wizz-Ra, and she's like, nope. You were the one on my lawn. You get into the Dimension Doom.
So that's the backstory. And then you see that Mumm-Ra explains that Wizz-Ra will be coming out of the mirror for one day only. And this is when he's going to make his mark. So this is the best part of the whole thing. Mumm-Ra is walking around the pyramid. And he's like, Slive and him are talking, and he's got to do something. He's got to get this. So he goes up to this large cheetah statue.
Oh my god!
And he's going to bring the statue to life. And the incantation is like, ah-tu he ha hoo ha yeah cha cha. It goes on for like ever.
Ha-cha! Cheetah ta! It was like ha 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 cha ta ta. It was the craziest shit.
Mumm-Ra has the solution. One she-cat to ensnare another. Fatata Cheetah! Once you hunted for the mighty Pharaoh, my pretty, but tonight you will hunt for Mumm-Ra!
So I think he gets really into it, and he's just this like, ha, chi, cha, cha, cha. It was, he has a cheetah, and he's like, one cat to get another cat, and he brings this cheetah statue alive, which just so happens to be in the pyramid all of a sudden, right? It's not the 4 ancient spirits of evil. Now he's got a cheetah statue just off to the corner.
It goes and possesses Cheetara. It gets past.
Oh my god, it goes into her.
It gets past all the security features of the cat's lair, climbs up a wall, and goes into Cheetara. So then you have Wizz-Ra coming through the mirror to meet his Cheetara that he's been admiring.
Beautiful Cheetara.
Also watching her while she's sleeping, tells her he'll come to her again. And then he gets out of the mirror, and the cheetah jumps out of Cheetara.
It's literally, it's drawn really funny.
And steals Wizz-Ra's enchanted headdress.
Before Cheetara could steal the gold off of it and hawk it herself.
Will I have that strange dream again tonight?
She sleeps. Ancient spirits of evil turn stone into flesh, blood, sinew, and claw. Bring Mumm-Ra, the enchanted helmet. Bring Mumm-Ra, the power to control minds.
After 7,000 years, the hour has struck. The beautiful Cheetara and her feline cohorts will help me defeat the evil Mumm-Ra once and for all. Arise, Thundercats!
I mean, we already talked about her voiceover. It's the first thing you hear. But when she speaks to herself and says, "This is the second time he's appeared to me. Do you think I should tell the Thundercats?" No.
They're going to send me back to the Burble Village to go to my Gold Anonymous meetings again.
They give her the Return to Oz Dorothy special. She's getting electric shock therapy.
She even looks older, remember?
She even looks older.
It's because this poor woman can't sleep, evidently. So Wizz-Ra was banished to the 7th dimension. However, once every 7,000 years, Wizz-Ra is able to return to Third Earth for one single day. And the portal coincidentally happens to be the exact same spot as the mirror in Cheetara's room.
So, if I was Cheetara, maybe she needs to switch rooms out with Snarf or Wily Kid or Wily Cat or somebody. Not Tigra. Not Tigra.
Forget it. Tigra would have too much of a good time with this apparition. It says he brings Fata Cheetah to life. Am I reading that right?
Is that what he's going? Fata Cheetah.
Fatana Cheetah. Fatana Cheetah.
Joey Fatone, Pato Cheetah, Insinka, Backstreet Boy,
Ooh, you're bringing your best Star Wars Cantina aliens out too now. So this is great. The cheetah lunges at Wizz-Ra when he emerges and grabs the helmet and takes it to Mumm-Ra. Inside Cat's lair, Lionel and Snarf are unable to wake Cheetara from her sleeping trance. Wizz-Ra explains she is under Mumm-Ra's power, and only if he had his helmet back could he break her trance. Thus, the trio immediately head to the Black Pyramid. At this point, didn't you question why they didn't get the other Thundercats? I mean, we see later that they're all evidently out doing some things, but this looked like it was midnight. So Chitara is just taking a snooze during the day, evidently.
No, it's night. It's implied that it's nighttime. So maybe they
that's
get
what
up
I
really
thought.
early. Maybe it's like the beginning. Maybe it's like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't say this earlier. By the way, when Mumm-Ra's viewing Chitara, as soon as she puts her head on the pillow, literally, the animation, she hits the pillow and he goes, "She's asleep!" The Thundercats just power down when they hit the pillow, evidently. Gone.
He's like the she-cat. Chitara sleeps.
In fact, that mirror in the she-cat Chitara's room is the very doorway through which Wizz-Ra must come.
Don't they call her like she-cat or
always.
so? Or,
They always
or
love
some
to
kind
say,
of like weird
the
female one.
Oh, it's better than boy cub. When he tells the cat, he's like, bring Mumm-Ra the helmet, bring Mumm-Ra the power to control minds. Third person again. He's telling Fata Cheetah. This is when Mumm-Ra sets a timer, which is literally the eye of one of his ancient spirits of evil. The sun has to hit the eye, and that's going to alert that one day has passed for Wizz-Ra's.
He has only one single day to even try your lizardness. Behold, the Vulture King! That beam of morning sun smites his left eye. As the hours pass, the beam will move. When it smites the right eye, the single day is over. That's how little time Wizz-Ra has to regain the enchanted helmet.
He couldn't just put his giant hourglass, which we've seen that Mumm-Ra has.
It isn't much time. It isn't much time. So yeah, he again, Mumm-Ra is all about presentation, elaborateness, ridiculous. Like Slive is like, aren't you worried that the other Thundercats could be coming or doing something? And he's like, no, I'll just control them now. And see this beam of light? See this beam of light? When it hits the statue over here, what one of the spirits of evil?
I think it was the alligator one.
What does he say? No, it wasn't. Wasn't it the vulture one?
It was Nemesis, as he calls it. No, that was a different one, right? Let me just see.
So long story short, again, very theatrical. The light has to hit the eye, but he calls it something. He doesn't call it hitting the eye. He calls it almost like
basically, yes, it has to come in contact with the eye. Very old school method. This is almost like the four winds.
A sundial. This is like a sundial.
Sundial, yeah. And this is Slythe and Mumm-Ra, like David's saying, are still just bull crapping over this thing. This is when he calls him his lizardness, because he's got the helmet now, and we find out later it's heavy.
And he's feeling himself. He's like,
oh, now I'm finally Queen of Third Earth.
So then
Queen,
he goes...
King.
Well, he's a Karen. So then the Thundercats come, and they're one by one taking over.
Lionel comes first, right, with Wizz-Ra, and he gives him the stare, and Lionel says, I wrote this down, my mind is being taken over by terrible feelings. And he starts to attack Wizz-Ra and Snarf. But Wizz-Ra was actually backing him up because the Sword of Omens was deflecting the beam at first.
And then then Wizz-Ra puts like a pyramid shield, and Mumm-Ra's like, a pyramid shield? Like, like almost like you're putting more subpar work up, like a pyramid shield? Like,
you're putting this pyramid up against me?
A pyramid shield, how dare you insult me like that with your weak magic. This is one of the only times that I remember, at least thus far, that Lionel calls the other Thundercats and he doesn't hold the symbol fades very quick.
Yeah.
He's losing his mind, so to speak, being taken over. So that you see the Thundercat symbol fade out, and it like the beam hits the
But he was able to alert them before he was fully taken, which was great, because this is when I thought, like I said, I thought it was night, but then we see Tiger is conveniently in another tunnel for doing something. I don't know what he's looking for down there.
He's looking for Silky.
Panther was out and about in the tank, and then we see that Wily Kit and Wily Cat are at the Burble Villages, just kind of like
performing.
Yeah, they're performing. It looks like they're performing for the Burbles with their lassos and a circus act, if you will. So Mumm-Ra orders the enchanted Lionel to throw the Sword of Omens into the desert of sinking sands, which is not to be confused with the deadly desert from the Return to Oz, where it disappears without a trace. Lionel then attacks Wizz-Ra, but the sorcerer uses his magic powers to stop Lionel in his tracks. Shortly after, Panther, Tigra, Wily Kit, and Wily Cat arrive, and they all fall victim to Mumm-Ra's mind control. Like Lionel, they too attack Wizz-Ra, and again, he uses his magic to subdue them. After expending too much of his power, the weakened Wizz-Ra and Snarf retreat back to Cat's lair. So he's actually, Wizz-Ra is, he's a formidable foe. So had he been around, it seems like Mumm-Ra really would have had a troublesome time with his pyramids.
Yeah, but again, this is what I think one of the things I really enjoyed about Thundercats was this whole Egyptian mythology, this whole thing of like time before our time where, with these pyramids and things like that. So it's a throwback. But yeah, it is. I guess that would have been his main foe. Now the Thundercats are his main foe.
Although there might be another, like we said, there might be another Egyptian foe that Mumm-Ra has as a counterpart.
So now you see that Snarf is literally carrying Wizz-Ra. So again, Snarf showing that he is not just useless. Actually, Snarf is the one, he almost like, I don't want to say he's like a big cheerleader, but he also like yells at them to like snap out of something, or he's like, grab the sword now.
Yes, honestly, yes, he does.
These subtle things that you think like they say he's nagging or he's a nursemaid, like especially when the mutants are insulting them or Mumm-Ra, but some of his actions definitely play a role in how the outcome of the story is, because he is basically, hurry up, there's someone behind you, or grab the sword now and call the Thundercats before it's too late. He kind of propels
and he is branded, like you're saying, as a nag, and I know a lot of fans do say that, but you're right, he's nagging, but he's saying it, it's his voice, I think, but he's saying it to help them. Yes, anything Snarf does is not, maybe when he complains and goes, oh, you messed up my clean kitchen, okay, but really, they would have been, we saw, defeated how many times now without him? So outside the lair, Wizz-Ra and Snarf encounter Cheetara, who has broken free of Mumm-Ra's control.
Cheetara! But
Where's Lionel, Snarf? Where are the others?
you're trance! Mumm-Ra is overconfident. He has relaxed his spell. We will take advantage of his arrogance.
All right, that was good. The three then head back to the Black Pyramid and sneak inside it undetected. Cheetara says, here I go, and she flies through the Black Pyramid. But I said, ooh, Mumm-Ra. Slive says, did you feel a draft? And Mumm-Ra's like, no, I didn't.
Do you feel a draft, Mumm-Ra? I felt nothing. Behold, the sun's beam smites the Vulture King's other eye. The day is over.
So you have Cheetara running around. She ends up actually using her staff and her brute strength, apparently, to push the statue to make it look like the day has done, that the sun has hit the other eye of the spirit of evil totem.
It was the Vulture King, by the way. You're right. Vulture statue.
It's funny when he says this, do you feel a draft? He's like, no.
Like, yeah, he's like,
how dare you insult? How dare you insult? You're telling me my pyramid is windy? What? No, not the word. You're insulting me. But you're telling me my pyramid's draft? Next, you're going to be saying it's dirty.
Meanwhile, there is a hole in the roof right now, putting a beam of light through, but
so then you also see the fact that Mumm-Ra does say, oh, no need to keep this on. This is heavy.
No need to wear this heavy helmet any longer.
The moment he had the chance to. This is Mumm-Ra's problem. He gives up as soon as it's time. Like, he's just like, the timer went off? Take this helmet off. I am done.
He's like, this is heavy.
That was hysterical. He's like, oh, this is quite heavy. Cheetara fools Mumm-Ra into thinking the day is over and Wizz-Ra has returned to his dimensional prison, so he removes the helmet. Snarf quickly grabs the helmet and gives it to Wizz-Ra, who uses it to free the Thundercats in Mumm-Ra's control, and then bless Mumm-Ra with his magic, causing the mummy to retreat into his sarcophagus. So when that happens, David, do you think Mumm-Ra's still in there listening to see if they're talking about him? Like, to see the wrap up and they're like, oh my god, this is what like they do the dust test like you're saying, and like, oh my god, the dust in here. And he just can't come out.
If anything happens to me, don't open my bedroom, my side table in my bedroom.
Here's the thing.
Not my special cabinet.
By the diamonds. By the
It's my
diamonds.
mummy porn.
MILFs. Mummies, I'd like to her. When the day almost over, Chitara helps Wizz-Ra to get back into the portal before time runs out for him. So if he doesn't get back in time, what would have happened?
I guess he dies.
You mean you'd be stuck watching at me forever?
And then Chitara's like, will I ever see you again? He's like, only in your dreams.
Beautiful Chitara.
But I must reach the mirror doorway or die in this dimension. I thank you, Chitara, for all you have done.
Will I see you again, wizard?
Only in your dreams, beautiful Chitara. Only in your dreams.
I would have said only in my dreams. What are you trying to say?
Wait a minute. Oh, only in my dreams, as real as it may seem. It was only in my dreams.
Only in your dreams. Only in your dreams.
You know that Debbie Gibson would have just broke out into song if she was on this podcast.
She heard it. Matter of fact, she drove up on a piano on wheels, just wheeled in. Now that's a radical retro moment. Debbie Gibson singing a drop of a dime.
She does.
Love you,
Oh,
Debbie.
God bless her. Love you, Debbie. She's coming over to Christmas album, right?
Yes, she is. By the end of this series, we might be getting a third Christmas album. So, David, the Sword of Omens is actually still missing. They go back to the desert, and Lionel calls the Sword of Omens, and it emerges from the sand and flies into his hands. Sword of Omens, come to me now.
I, Lionel, Lord of the Thundercats, by the power of Jaga, vested in me, by the state of California, I summon you.
By Vulcanmania. What is that place from the Nothing But Trouble?
Come
Vulcanmania?
to my hand.
And it came. It came. I mean, did you have any doubt, Lionel?
It's gone! Just a glow!
Good is not that easily defeated by evil, Snarf. By the power of Jaga, Sword of Omens, come to my hand. Come. I, Lionel, Lord of the Thundercats, command it.
I'm glad it all turned out well, but maybe if I had trusted you more and told you about Wizz-Ra, all this wouldn't have happened.
That's in the past, Chitara. But in the future, we must hold nothing back from each other if we are going to remain a team. Right?
Right!
Thundercats!
Trivia for this episode. In this episode, we learn the name of one of the 4 statues in Mumm-Ra's tomb chamber. The vulture-like statue is known as Vulture King. Well, okay. This episode is unusual for Mumm-Ra in that during it, he never transforms into his ever-living form. I actually thought that was because he had the power with the helmet and he didn't even need it. This would be a rare occurrence throughout the series, with Mumm-Ra's transformation usually taking place whenever he would appear in an episode. Although, of course, in this case of the episode, it could be argued that he had no need to transform, yes, given the enchantment by his powers granted by Wizz-Ra. However, Mumm-Ra is shown in his ever-living form in the flashback scene in which he is battling Wizz-Ra, yes.
So doesn't he say something like when they're gonna come to retrieve the helmet or the headdress thing, let them come to me to my power or something like that?
Yeah,
So
yes, yeah.
Again, he's establishing that he's more powerful at the pyramid.
But yet, it gives him an easier access to just retreat into that sarcophagus, really. Because still in the tomb, he might have more power, but still he just goes, ah!
He has
runs
home
into
team advantage. That's what I guess.
And did you notice he actually lined the pyramid with sarcophaguses this time again?
For them.
Like before he had them just wrapped up in mummy things. This time he's like, oh, well, now I got 5 sarcophaguses laid out. This time they're really going to stay here. This episode marks the second time out of 5 that an opponent has been bound using his own bolo whip. The other instances
I believe that he's done that in romantic situations, probably, and then he disappears when he's done, so he doesn't want a relationship.
Oh my god! He just disappears. I hear footsteps leaving. Is that Tigra? This episode also marks the first time out of 4 that an opponent has bound Panthro using his own nunchucks. The other being the evil harp of Charnin, Mumm-Ra Lives, Part 5, and the Thunder Cubs, Part 4. The appearance of the Sphinx in this episode further collaborates the theory that Third Earth is the future version of our present Earth, which is David always has said since the first episode.
Very Thundar the Barbarian.
Which Thundercats.
I love that show.
That soon. The thunderbolt that Mumm-Ra fires at the Sphinx is apparently an explanation for the missing nose of the real Sphinx in Giza, which is located in present-day Egypt. Chitara says at the end, "Maybe if I trusted you more, I would have told you." To me, this is out of character for Chitara.
First of all, again, she proves that she is one of the strongest, most amazing out of the whole group. I'm sorry. She was able to move that statue herself. Do you know how big that statue is? How heavy that's gotta be? She didn't even break a sweat. She's just like, I'll run over here, nudge it, come back. Yeah, well, maybe she's like, I don't want to end up like Britney Spears in a conservative ship. They're going to, if I see things in the mirror. That's probably why.
You know, honestly, I actually think you're right. At this point, Chitara's caused quite a few stirs with her powers.
But yet, it always comes out that she's not crazy. She's not making it up. She was possessed by aliens. So it's not like she's like, that people are like, oh God, here goes Chitara again with one of her crazy things. She's not crazy.
That's right. If she told Lionel that there was a man in her mirror, I guarantee you Lionel would have been like, Chitara, well, let's check this out. I guarantee you, Chitara. But okay, I think David's right.
Lionel's, I thought I was the man in your mirror.
Oh, Lionel.
She like, this is my side thing.
This is the one I just posed for. Oh, can't do anything, Wizz-Ra. So, I mean, I actually really liked the Dimensional Doom episode, David.
That was like, this is a really good one. I actually did not remember this one very much, believe it or not. And I really enjoyed it. Like, this is on my list of good
Ooh,
ones.
that just made the list.
Thunder.
Turn me!
ThunderCats Lair. Will Cat's Lair's electronic laser beam destroy the mutant vehicle?
Laser!
Direct laser hit. Cat's Lair's doors are blown open.
Get him! Fire! Retreat!
Cat's Lair defeats the mutant vehicle. Cat's Lair, complete with mutant vehicle. Figure sold separately from LJN.
They fly on wings of silver. They fight with nerves of steel. They're partly metal, partly real. They're the Silver Hawks.
Looks like we're going to see some action.
A team of space-age superheroes. The Silver Hawks are ready to battle Monstar, universal public enemy number 1.
Hold on to your hats.
So take off into high-powered, supercharged action with the mighty Silver Hawks. Don't miss them.
Afternoons at 4 on Channel 47.
Don't miss the super androids that fly on wings of silver and fight with nerves of steel. The mighty Silver Hawks.
Afternoons at 4.
So then we follow this up with the next day, November 7th of 1985, with episode 34, Queen of 8 Legs. Mumm-Ra uses the birth of a powerful Spider Queen to his advantage by luring the Thundercats into her deadly web. My God,
So
David.
you see that, again, Mumm-Ra has the viewing pool on any kind of movement. And he, this is also plays into the fact that Mumm-Ra is aware of everything that goes on in Third Earth.
Everything.
The birth of a new spider. He says, what does he say to the thing? Like, show me what...
What? This is some sort of activity in the Kingdom of Webs?
What is this? Some sort of activity in the Kingdom of Webs? Nemesis, force of darkness, come to the aid of Mumm-Ra! Tell me the meaning of this nightmare event.
The Kingdom of Webs! He got the alert even there. The Kingdom of Webs. Ding, 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 ding. The birth of a new Spider Queen. Actually, David, this is when we hear him say, "Tell me, Nemesis."
Stars.
Witnessing unusual activities in the Kingdom of the Webs from his cauldron, Mumm-Ra summons Nemesis to explain this phenomenon to him. The Force of Darkness informs Mumm-Ra that the Kingdom of Webs has newly hatched a queen called Spidera. Mumm-Ra then transforms into the tiny... Okay, so this is actually what makes the episode worth it. The tiny diamond fly, ordered to lure the Thundercats into Spidera's web of rage.
There's two things I want to point out. I'm going to point out the one point right now. So you see Mumm-Ra, after he talks to Nemesis in the pool and asks him what he should do, he's like, use the power of deception, basically.
What vicious evil hatches in the Kingdom of Webs? And how might I use it against the Thundercats?
Nemesis will tell you this. The Kingdom of Webs has a new queen of 8 legs, Spidera.
I welcome such frenzy and hate to my dynasty of darkness. But how? How do I lure Lionel and the Thundercats into Spidera's web of rage?
And then he says, I welcome such hate into my dynasty of darkness.
Yes, he welcomes this into his dynasty of darkness. Is that what it is?
Dynasty of Darkness. I did love that line.
Though this is an episode where Mumm-Ra doesn't transform, but he does. He says he does the whole ancient spirits of evil transform, and he's just standing at the pool. He never actually converts into Mumm-Ra, and then because there wasn't remember the episode when he turns into Mumm-Ra and then he says, "Turn me into Boom-Ra,"
yes, and then
Boom-Ra.
Ancient Ones, yes, turn me into Mumm-Ra.
So
turn me
he
into
doesn't.
the form
He
of,
never.
Yep.
He's at the pool, and he never transforms physically into Mumm-Ra, the ever living. He goes right into. He makes himself this diamond fly.
It's always a woman. I love this. I love that it's always a female character, and they get more and more small and fairy-like as they go on. Mumm-Ra's really getting more comfortable in himself, I think. That's why he didn't even have to call upon the ancient spirits. He's like, I know what I want to be today. Diamond Fairy! Who literally is a little fairy with a diamond headdress.
It's
a
like,
diamond
help, 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 Lionel, help!
It says...
Danger? But I don't see anything.
Help me, Lionel! Help me! Help me!
Hey, turn down the lights. Pretty lights. Pretty lights. Lights. Pretty.
Oh, you will help me, won't you?
Thundercats always help those in need. How can I help?
By following me.
To eternal captivity in Spidera's
help me. Ha 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 ha. Like, it does this, like, crazy laugh, though, when it's asking Lionel for help. Like, he can't even control himself. This is when Mumm-Ra, not only we talk about Lynn Lipton having to come up with different things, Mumm-Ra's like, what is this character gonna do? Oh, this one's gonna laugh like this. Ha 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 ha.
What's my motivation?
What am I today? Lionel is relaxing in the grass outside Cat's lair when he hears the cries for help and goes to investigate. He actually does a gymnastic-like spring, right? And the sword goes off, and he jumps into action. Diamondfly mesmerizes Lionel into a trance and starts leading him towards Spidera's lair when Snarf, who had just emerged from Cat's lair, notices the claw shield and the Sword of Omens lying unguarded. He knows something is terribly wrong because Lionel would not leave these unmanned. He picks up the two items and goes off into search for Lionel. He finds Lionel deep in the forest, still under the Diamondfly spell, but manages to snap him out of his trance. Back to his senses, Lionel uses the Sword of Omen to expose Diamondfly for who she really is. Mumm-Ra.
But Mumm-Ra is insulting Snarf again.
Oh, is he doing it as Diamondfly?
Yeah, because then his eyes turned red and he's like, Mumm-Ra's he's too funny. And yes, and then he uses the Sword of Omens, and then you see a tiny Mumm-Ra, then you see a tiny little Mumm-Ra.
To me, though, isn't this who Mumm-Ra really wants to be in the inside?
A tiny Mumm-Ra?
This tiny, like, fairy-like creature, or this tiny...
I have no idea, but I can tell you this. He goes on to tell Lionel, now you gotta go retrieve Snarf. Good luck with that.
He really does. He says, Lionel goes after Snarf and finds himself in the Kingdom of Web, where his beloved nursemaid has been trapped in a cocoon in a giant web. So the thing about Spidera, David, is Spidera actually speaks. I did not remember that. I thought she was just a gigantic
All
spider.
the spiders speak, and they're very, like, primitive, I guess, the way they speak, you know? And
they're not, like, bushy?
Underfood! And...
Food! Cow! It's no use, Lionel! They are webs of steel!
We had no actors to do these voices. This is really the voices of desperation, I think. What are we doing today?
Well, it ain't Destiny's Child.
Did you get actually a callback to the My Little Ponies movie with these gigantic spiders? With that big spider they had to tickle?
Spider they were tickling? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, tickle the web.
You know what I was thinking of? That movie that you bought me. Was it Spookies? The guy gets caught in the web and the woman turns into a spider and sucks his blood out?
Ooh. Spidera appears to Lionel, who immediately summons the other Thundercats. While waiting for his friends to arrive, Lionel battles Spidera, but eventually gets the Sword of Omens knocked out of his hand. Spidera flings Lionel into one of her giant webs, where he becomes stuck and unable to move. They call this Webs of Steel Spidera, so this is her new workout program. With Webs of Steel, you too can learn.
You can be as strong as Spidera.
Spidera.
Have the power of 8 legs. In the only 2.
At that moment, the Thundercats crash into Spidera's lair in the Thunder Tank. Panthro, Chitara, and Tigra all attack Spidera, while at the same time trying to get the Sword of Omens to Lionel. However, Spidera proves to be too strong for them, which it's crazy to think of a creature like this spider battling them and beating them, but I mean, she is a gigantic spider. And one by one, they all end up being caught in her steel-like webs. Tigra manages to throw the Sword of Omens to Snarf, who catches it with his tail and flings it to Lionel. Again,
after breaking out of a cocoon himself.
To get to his boy. His charge. Mumm-Ra actually calls him a nursemaid again, but here we go. Saves the day. Well, saves Lionel.
We just saw in the last episode, on this very podcast hour that we're doing together, he called the Sword of Omens out of the desert or whatever, sands of whatever.
Yes.
The sword was like 6 inches from his hand. He's like, I have to stretch myself even more to get to the sword. Call to the sword. It's literally right there. It is so close that Yeah, you probably could just reach over and get it, but just call for it instead and make it be done with it.
Right. This is basically Luke hanging from the ceiling in Empire Strikes Back and calling for the sword. It's right there below him. He could have called for it, but okay, I guess for to make this episode, to make this spider as a villain of the week. So Lionel grabs the sword and frees himself from the web. Seeing their lord in action gives all the Thundercats the power to break free of their web binding. If only
wait a minute. No, doesn't he calls the Thundercats again? Doesn't he?
That's what I thought.
He does the call twice. First of all, he calls them to get there, and then he uses it again, and that empowers them.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, this is seeing him gives them the strength. But you're right; they have to get that jolt from the sword. It doesn't
because I wrote down, it was in my notes. I said that, and again, it wasn't the last episode. It was this episode where he uses the Sword of Omens, calls them, does the whole Thundercats ho thing, and that's what he double doses them. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. They had a double dose of that caffeine. 5-hour energy. Chitara's running through the ceilings at this point. With renewed vigor, the Thundercats attack Spidera again, this time succeeding in defeating her. So I noticed by the end of this, Mumm-Ra didn't even know that his plan failed. He actually was left thinking that he got rid of them this time.
You mean
we never go back to them?
The viewing pool?
Maybe he went right back to bed after this. No way they're gonna get through Spidera. Out of everything I've thrown at them, the queen of the spiders is gonna be the thing that gets them. Okay. Evidently, this week's moral is Snarf saying this. You know how it is when you think you've got nothing left, you just have to dig deeper.
Yes, how did you break out of that cocoon, Snarf?
Well, you know how it is. When you think you've got nothing left, you just have to dig deep.
Come on, we better get back to Cat's Lair.
Wily Cat and Wily Kit will be wondering what happened to us. You've just got to dig deep, Snarf.
Come on, Snarf. Let's go home.
And that's what Snarf did to escape from the cocoon.
Again,
which was nice.
It's very true. Like we've talked about so many times that even life, if you see someone's like in pain or suffering, or your child is in danger, you all of a sudden amass some sort of power within that you never thought you had, and something you just can't summon, ever
using
again.
Using a sword, using the Sword of Omens, you can just energize these things. No, it's true though. It's something that he basically dug deep to not only save himself, but to save the ones he loves to escape Snarf.
And he also gets, and El Panther also says, go to get the cannon, and he's shooting at the ceiling.
Oh, that's right.
So again, I'm here for Snarf. I know he's annoying. The voice might be annoying to people, but
he never annoyed me. I don't know.
The only thing that disturbed me was when he was they had showed him dancing with
the woman,
a female Snarf that looked like it had a woman's face. It was a little disturbing to me, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie.
A little suspect. She looked like a mix between the Unicorn Keeper and a Snarf.
So
fantasy.
So yes, they defeat Spidera again. Mumm-Ra. This is we just did these 2 episodes back to back are Mumm-Ra episodes. Which
kind of makes me think that he might not appear in the next episode, actually. I think they gave us too many Mumm-Ras in a row. Although I do love it.
I love a good Mumm-Ra.
And I love a good transformation.
I love a good transformation. A room, a person.
Like I said, had it not been for Mumm-Ra turning into something else, this might have been a little for me. But I do love that there's the Queen of the Spiders. Trivia, David. The Thunder Kittens do not appear in this episode, but Chitara does mention them in the end. Oh, she's like, we got some kids that we got to take care of.
She says they're going to be wondering. You're right. They're going to be wondering what happened to us or where we are. So how come they didn't get summoned by the sword unless they told them to stay in the cat's lair?
It.
Maybe they said stay in the cat's lair because somebody has to watch the place.
But then I always thought they couldn't resist that. Like it's almost like it compels them to help
What
him.
Is it, The Exorcist? The body of Christ compels you?
She even looks older. So, the scene of Chitara running from Spidera's web shots utilizes the same animation sequence that has her running in the show's opening title. Oh, that was a good use of reanimation. And then, usually when communicating with the ancient spirits of evil, Mumm-Ra addresses them collectively. But in this episode, he would appear to address one specifically, who he referred to as Nemesis. So what do you think about that? He's like, this one knows.
I love it. No, I like it. I like it. I really, this is what I want more of. I want more of the backstory. I want more of like the different evil spirits, the transformations that are to come. I really think they're different, and I'm for it too. I like all this. This is why I love Mumm-Ra. He's a nut.
It's foundation building, right? It's adding to me more of his mythos. Now we got Vulture King from the last episode, and now Nemesis.
And it's like this. It's showing that more about what these entities are that are empowering him. It's like evil. It's like pure, like these totems or these statues represent different evil spirits. So they're
evil spirits, yeah. They literally are giving Mumm-Ra this power in his black
there's a price to pay for everything. And that's a good thing. Our grandfather used to have a saying that never envy anybody because there's always a price to pay. They always pay a price, and that could be.
And Mumm-Ra is a servant. He's basically slave.
He's tied to them. They give him power, but he's also, and you'll find out in later episodes, where he is criticized and they are angry with him because he has not accomplished. But he obsesses over it to begin with. That's the thing.
I know. Could he get any more into this job? That's right. Right?
Is it the fact that he is compelled because he is pure evil and he reigns over Third Earth, that when something good shows up on it's almost like slapping him in the face, like he has to be compelled. He's compelled to annihilate it. So it's an obsession because it's just
a nuance.
Yeah, it's like obsessing over something. Like if I see something and if I see a bug on the wall and I have to get rid of it immediately because I see it's in my sight. I don't know. That's a weird analogy to
no, but we don't know if it's him wanting to do it. Does it annoy him? Are the ancient spirits telling him to do it? Is it a mix of all?
Does he have feelings? Does it do something to him? I know he has feelings, but he hates them. And I know he apparently gets tired from the last episode. His head was the helmet was the headdress was too heavy for him. I mean, he
gets really, when he gets happy Mumm-Ra's my favorite, when he thinks he's succeeded. My lizardness. You don't think he's calling Sly the lizardness on a normal basis. So that brings us to who was today's biggest bungler.
You bungler! Once again, you have failed. You bungled it!
If we're going collectively for both, they're both the same. It's Mumm-Ra.
See, I definitely want to go with Mumm-Ra too, but tell me what you're thinking.
In the first episode that we were talking about, he bungled by assuming immediately that he was in the clear and that he should take the helmet off because it was heavy. Because Sly is there telling him, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" He's had it. Sly is like, "Are you listen to me. This is what I do to my husband." I'm like, "Are you sure?" Knowing that it's going to end in a disaster, and he still wants to do it. And I'm like, "You need to. Are you sure?" So he bungled that. The next one, I would have done it differently with the spiders. I would have put Lionel in some sort of a trance and Snarf so they couldn't call for help and let the spiders just devour them and kill them.
Right.
Instead of thinking that, this thing is so big and crazy, it's gonna kill Lionel with the magic, the Sword of Omen. So that was a bungle. So I think he's the biggest bungler. But you tell me.
I think you're right. I agree, especially in the first episode. It is Mumm-Ra because he couldn't wait one more minute. And I'll even say, I'm surprised, like you said, Sly didn't say, "Can you check the pool? Yes." Is he still there? Can you just look? It's right here. Can you look before you take the helmet off?
Do I have access to your Wi-Fi? Can I check?
Is mighty Mumm-Ra still picking up Cat's Lair Wi-Fi? Yes. But I'm gonna say for the Queen of Eight Legs, I am giving Lionel the bungler because you're right. He just literally day before, let's say it was a week before, called the Sword of Omens from below the sands but when it was right below him, he couldn't get it, which I know it's a story written wise, but when you have a character that can summon their sword, you have to write it a little differently. So I think that was a bungler on his end, not to just sword, come to my hands.
Maybe he was suffering some sort of sword ED. He couldn't summon it like he wanted to at the time.
I try, but I can't seem to get it. Let's find the mega condenser.
I can't get my sword up. I can't.
Oh, Lionel. God.
Oh my god.
Wow, Thundercats fans, bunglers.
You bungler!
Yes, my bunglers.
That was another episode of our Thundercats reviews. I'm so sorry that we're only doing these once a month. I know we have a lot to get through. It's just that we're so full the rest of the month with other shows, but we are not giving up on Thundercats. David, we're up to episode 35. Oh no, 34 of 65. So we're midway through. We're midway through season 1. After 3 years. No, two. We're starting our 3rd season.
All those appearances that we have to make really do, television, watching it, podcasting.
It's just the editing. Listen, if we didn't have to edit and add clips and things like this, we could be throwing out an episode every day. But, we really want to give you quality. We
want a quality experience for everybody.
And a matter of fact, David, in a few episodes, we will be doing the trials of Lionel. So we will be getting through a chunk of episodes in one big block. We did decide that we are going to cover the trials of Lionel, which is episodes that were not in order, but in syndication, the episodes are put in order now. So we are going to do all of Lionel's trials in one big happy thing. So look forward to that. You could always find David, Universal Appeal 2020, one word on Instagram, and the Radical Retro Rewind podcast, one word on Instagram. Thank you so much for listening this week. And Mitesh, really, thank you so much for all of your wonderful comments. Also, Craig, one of our earliest Thundercats fans, we appreciate you so much. Everyone out there who listens to us bungling these episodes, thank you.
You're a bungler, I'm a bungler, you're all bunglers.
Nada, thank you again. We'll be back next month with double Thundercat. And as always, David, ho. Bye.
Thunder, thunder.